Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and thank you for being here today. As always, if you are new here and you are interested in tarot cards, tarot readings, true crime cases, missing persons cases, please consider liking and subscribing. If you come back every week, I thank you for your support. I know I have some followers that are here every week and I really truly appreciate your support. Also, if you are interested in setting up a private tarot reading, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will have all of the information for that in the description box, including my email. All you have to do is email me and we can set something up. I hope everyone is having a good week. Tomorrow is Good Friday, so I wish everyone a happy Easter. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. It is so extremely windy here in Indiana today. If you guys hear the wind outside, there's just nothing I can do about it. Our trash can has been knocked over about 3 times now. Branches are all over the place, so it might be a little bit loud. Alright, so today's case is not a requested video. Most of the time, I would say 98.9% of the time, I try to do videos that are requested by all of you. And I appreciate your suggestions and I do write them down. I just am not very organized, and so sometimes I write them down and I misplace that paper and I miss it. I apologize. I'm really bad about that. However, this was a case that I wanted to cover, and it's just a really sad situation. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating, and it's not like this case took place in 1950. All right, this situation happened in 1990, and so it's just so. Oh, great! Now the sun's coming in on the window. But yeah, this case is just really frustrating, and that is the case of Danette and Jeannette Millbrook. Now, they were twin sisters. They were fraternal twins, and they were born April 2nd, 1974, so about the same age as me. Maybe would have been a couple of years older. Not maybe. They would be a couple of years older than me if they were here. So they've been missing for over 30 years now. They were living at the time in Augusta, Georgia. All right, so we have Augusta, Georgia, obviously the South, 1990. We have these 2 sisters who did everything together, came from what appears to be a normal, loving household. I don't believe that their father was in the picture, but they had their mother who took very good care of them. They had a couple of other siblings. I'm not sure if the siblings were older or younger. The twins were 15 at this time. And it happened on March 18th. It was a Sunday, I believe. The girls went to church in the morning. And they left church, and from church, let me get my list of places where they went. They walked with each other, okay? They both went. They went everywhere together, as far as I can tell. They were inseparable. So they went to church, and then after church, Jeannette and Danette decided to walk to a fast food place for some lunch. Once they left the fast food place, I believe they got food to go. They stopped at their godfather's house. They visited with him for a short time, and then after they left his house, they went to their cousin's house. And then once they left the cousin's house, they stopped at I believe it was a gas station slash, I don't want to say store, but I think it was called the Pump and Shop. Okay, so there was no walking distance stores in that area where they were at. That was the place that they would go to get their snacks and drinks, and you may stop there to get some milk and bread and things like that. And so they were actually known to frequent this little gas station shop. They would go in there to get snacks quite often, and this Sunday was no different. Apparently, when they had went to their godfather's house, he had loaned them some money because they had recently moved. I believe the story is that they had recently moved, and because of the move, they still wanted to continue going to the same school, but because they were out of the district, they were not eligible for the free bus ride, and so they had to take a city bus. And they did not have the money that week for the city bus. So they ended up walking to their godfather's house, and he gave them the money for the city bus for the week, and he gave them a couple of extra dollars for spending money, which they spent at this pump and shop gas station. Now, like I said, they were regulars in here. As a matter of fact, the cashier, her name was Gloria. She knew them very well. She knew the family. The girls were always well behaved when they came into the store. They were respectful. She said it was just like any other visit. They came into the pump and shop, and they bought their snacks. And she said they walked out the door, and she looked. She had another customer, but she looked, and they were gone. And she didn't think anything of it. She just assumed that they had left. They had walked away. They were just there, but then they were gone. And then she continued on with her other customers and thought nothing of it. So it wasn't until that evening when the girls' mom was expecting them back, and they had not returned. They were not ones to be late like that. And so her mom called the godfather and asked, did you see the girls? And he said, yeah, they were here earlier. They came by. I gave them the money for the bus and some money for snacks, and they left. And so they did confirm all of this. Mom calls the police and wants to report them missing, but the police told them that they had to wait 24 hours to report them missing. And I think we all know that that's not true. You don't have to wait 24 hours, but that's what they were told. They waited the 24 hours. Mom calls the police again the following day, and she spoke to a dispatcher. Dispatcher transfers her to a police officer or a detective, and I believe the detective on the shop or the case was named Detective Ship. So like Ship, S-H-I-P. Detective Ship was his name. So he's talking to Mom, and she's explaining to him that she hadn't seen her girls since the previous day, that it's not like them to not come home, and he tells her that they probably just ran away, and that was it. So Mom calls again, I think, the following day, and is insisting that they do something, that they search for these girls. Pretty much, I'm just going to tell you right now that this case was botched from the get-go, before it even started. It just was horribly handled by law enforcement. I don't know what's going on in Augusta, Georgia. I don't know if this is, I don't know, but we're talking about 1990. Now, these girls are African American. And when you look into the city of Augusta, Georgia, it appears that there are two sides. You have the extreme poverty side, and you have the extreme wealthy side, and the two are not treated the same. It just so happens that Danette and Jeannette are from the poverty side, okay? And so I'm not sure if this is playing a role in how this investigation, or lack thereof, was conducted, but these officers did absolutely nothing. Nothing, okay? So fast forward a couple of years. The girls were 15 when they went missing. 3 years after they went missing, okay, they would have been 18. They finally get a visit from Detective Ship. He knocks on their door one day, and they're ecstatic because they're expecting to hear something. They're expecting to hear that their daughters have been found, their sisters have been found, or at least something. And it is Detective Ship telling them that they have closed the case because they are now 18 years old, and because they are probably runaways, there's nothing that they can do to force them to come home. If they choose to run away and stay away from home, they're 18, they're legally adults, they can do that. And that was just devastating. Not really devastating, because I don't think that the police had done anything up until that point anyways. So I think this was kind of just an official, we're done. We're not even going to pretend that we're doing anything. We're just done. no proof that these girls ran away. No indications that these girls ran away. Typical behavior: go to the pump and shop, get their snacks, had lunch, went to get their money for their bus transportation. Good students, happy girls. No indication that there was any problems going on in the house, yet the police just ruled this a runaway and didn't even look into it. And if you look a little bit more into this area, this Augusta, Georgia, it seems like in that area at that time there were other criminal violent acts being done on people, and they were also not being looked into. And so we have a real issue that was, and this issue seems to continue today, because this case was reopened in 2013 because a podcast, and I have to look up the name and I will share it in the description, but there's a podcast made up of two women who are actually locally from that area, and they really dug into this case. They, I believe, were the force behind getting this case reopened in 2013. I believe Oxygen did a special on Danette and Jeannette and the whole situation with the Augusta Police Department and the area and the racial makeup and possibly the racism that, maybe stood in the way of an investigation. And so they kind of shed some light on this story. They also raised money, enough money to put up a billboard of the girls. So you would think that maybe in 2013 that, with more attention on the case, there was also a new sheriff in town, an African-American man. I forget his name at the moment, but he actually was voted in for sheriff, and he apparently was on record at one point talking to this podcast group, and they later came out and said that when they approached the sheriff, they had a really good feeling that he was going to reopen this case, which they did, but that he was going to match the money that they made. They raised money. He said to them that he would match the money that they raised to help contribute to that billboard. And later on, he came out and denied having said that. He told the media that he never said that he would match the money. Well, long story short, this podcast ended up raising all of the money for this billboard for these two girls to be put up. And I don't know what the current status is of the billboard, but this was in 2013. So that is kind of disappointing with this sheriff coming in and saying, we're going to do things different. And he is on camera talking about institutional racism and about there's people in this town that, just contributed to this case being a joke. And you have this impression that he's going to come in and make changes and do things differently, but he seems to fall in line with his predecessors and do absolutely nothing as well. And it seems like it was empty promises to me. But anyway, so there's a couple of theories as to what happened to the girls. Oh, and I will say later on, there was a missing children's organization that had Jeannette and Danette on their website. They actually contacted the mother and told them that they were taking Danette and Jeannette off of the website, the missing children's website, because the police told them, the police told this organization that the case has been closed, the girls had been found, they were put into foster care and were adopted out to a family. Now, mind you, they would have been adults, right? Remember, the cops said that they were adults. They couldn't force them to come home. Yet, ironically, they have been fostered out and adopted. Typically, you're not going to... I found it very unbelievable that 17, 18-year-old girls would be adopted. Just doesn't seem like it would be... I don't know. I just don't buy it. So the mom was actually shocked. She could not believe the story that she was hearing, that this organization was taking her girls off of their missing child's website because the police that never investigated her children's disappearance told them that the girls had been found. And not only had they been found, they had been fostered out and eventually adopted. Now, just fast forward a little bit. This podcast, this group of women, or these two women rather, that started this podcast, they actually were able to sit down and talk with Detective Shipp. And they asked him, did he ever actually lay eyes on Danette or Jeannette? Because they asked him about this adoption story, and he still to this day says that yes, that was what he was told, that they had been found. They had been found alive, and they were in the foster care system, and that they had been adopted. These women asked him, did you ever lay physical eyes on these girls? When you were told that they were adopted, did you ever physically see them? And he admits that he never did. So it's so unreal. It's just, it's so frustrating. Now, he refused to go on camera, but he did sit down with these two women. I don't know if he sat down with them or if it was via phone call, but he did refuse to go on camera. So we've got, I don't know what we've got. We've got a hot mess is what we've got. But there are a couple of theories. So there were, like I said, there were other crimes, similar crimes, if you consider that these girls were kidnapped, but there were violent crimes going around in the area at that time. Now, there was also an alleged serial killer in the area named Joseph Patrick Washington. And he was known, and they know this because there were a few women that he abducted that managed to get away alive. He was known to have picked up women, abducted them, and beaten, raped them, and there's a couple of cases where he killed them. But he had done that to a couple of women, and they managed to get away. And what he would do is he would scout out, get this, around the same gas station that Danette and Jeannette were last seen at, the pump and shop. He would scout that area. That was like his spot. So he was known in the area to go around, and he would carry a gun, and he would point a gun at these women, these unsuspecting women, and he would force them in his car, and he'd tell them to get in the car, he was going to kill them, and then he'd take them off someplace, and then he'd beat them and rape them and potentially kill some of them. So 3 women that he did this to managed to get away and reported that. So one theory is that this person, this serial killer, Joseph Patrick Washington, could have been responsible for abducting the girls. So there's that. And that's one of the questions that I'm going to have as well. Okay. He is now dead. He was in prison, I think. He was eventually arrested, and he's now dead. Then the other side, the other theory, main theory, is the girls' father, their biological father. Now, his name is, I think, Mike Millbrook. And he was not in their lives. The mother had left him early on while she was pregnant with the girls because he was very violent towards her, very abusive and into drugs, and she just didn't want anything to do with that. She was afraid that if he was willing to harm her while pregnant, that he could potentially harm the children, and so she ended up leaving him. And so there's some speculation that the father was mixed up in some dealings, and he may actually have something to do with the disappearance of his 2 daughters. So we've kind of got these 2 theories floating around. Now, there's also a Jane Doe that I believe was found years later. I don't know what year the Jane Doe was found, but she was found years later. The bones, the remains were completely... It was just skeletal remains at this point. And so they actually did a, what do you call it, when they try to recreate the facial structure or the face based on the bone structure. And I'll have that picture up on the screen now. This particular set of remains looks just like one of the sisters. It really looks like one of the sisters. However, they have never done DNA testing on these remains. They were supposed to, but they never followed through on it. I don't know what happened, but they've never asked for DNA from any of the girls' family, so there was nothing to test it to. So I guess we have these remains, and they've just never bothered to look into it. Never bothered to see if it was one of these girls. And then also I have to mention that the police records of this whole case went missing. Okay, so if anybody were to reopen the case right now and really look into it, they wouldn't have anything to go on, because everything that was done, which wasn't much, right? So maybe it's not really that much of a loss, because there wasn't much done anyways. But whatever was done, whatever was documented, whatever was reported to the family is gone. And so the police have stated that they don't know what happened. They don't know if it was lost. I don't know. So just a really, really horrible, sad case and situation. Like I said, these girls would be 45, 46 right now. And no publicity whatsoever. None. Okay, the media didn't pick it up. Now, mind you, this is 1990, so, we had media. I believe we had CNN at that time. I remember watching CNN. Okay, so we had 24-hour news cycles, and this case was never even so much as in the news for even a minute. And then you think about these other cases that are in the news 24/7, 24/7, literally. And these people, these names of the people, and that's good. We need to have this information out there, but it needs to be fair across the board. And so why didn't Danette and Jeannette get that publicity? Why don't they get that publicity now? It's a cold case that I would like to see reopened. And I don't know if that'll ever happen. I mean, I know it was opened in 2013, but it seems like it's just a reoccurring cycle of not doing anything. It reopened, but you haven't really done anything. And if it hadn't been for the work of these two women behind this podcast, it wouldn't even have been reopened. I believe that the family, and I will also share their GoFundMe in the description box, but the family, the sisters who are now grown, have children of themselves, the family has a GoFundMe because they do want to hire an attorney and they want to hire a private detective. And again, I'm hesitant to share people's GoFundMes, but when it's something like this, and I really get a feeling that these family members really want to know what happened, and they deserve to know what happened. And Jeannette and Danette deserve to be brought back home, if that's the case, so that they can have a proper burial. And the family, they deserve to know what happened to their daughters and their siblings. And if they need to hire a private investigator, I think that that's money well worth, contributing to. So I will actually be making a donation. And of course, you absolutely do not, but I will just have that information in there, and feel free to watch other channels. Like I said, I will add the description of the podcast. I do not have the name of the podcast on me right now, but I will put it in when I upload the video. So we've got a couple of questions, and I do want to start out with just what happened that day. So we have the girls going to church. It's a normal Sunday. They go to church. They grab some lunch. They're walking around town. They're visiting their godfather, if I can shuffle. They stop to visit their cousin. They go and they buy some snacks at the pumpkin shop, where the cash register lady, or the cashier, named Gloria, waits on them, says that they were normal, was like any other time that they had went in. They pay, they walk out the door, and next thing you know, Gloria says they're gone. So take us back to that day. What happened after you left that pop shop? I'm sorry, we have a place here called the Pop Shop, and so I am having a hard time saying the Pumpkin Shop, and instead I'm saying Pop Shop, because that's just the place that we have here. The Pumpkin Shop. What happened when you walked out of that pumpkin shop? All right. Well, we've got the Five of Wands. Yeah, they never left the pop shop. They never left the pop shop the way they intended on leaving the pop shop. I'm sorry, the pump shop. Pumpkin shop. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, so, this is them leaving it, but it's reversed. So they left it, but not in the means that they were expecting. They were expecting to walk back home at that point. I think their traveling for the afternoon was pretty much done. They probably would have headed back home that day. And something or someone interrupted them. They were transported, because this is a transportation card. This is a movement card. So they were transported someplace, and I would probably gesture to say that they put up a fight. Okay, this is competition, conflict, however you want to look at it, but it's a card with this one here. It's making me feel like they did have an altercation of some sort, but with it being reversed like that, I don't think that they ended up being the winners of this confrontation. Okay, so definitely right away, I'm feeling that they were transported. Were you transported by one person? One person. King of Cups. So potentially a drinker, someone much older than them. They're going to come out. I would look at them as pages. So this is the king. So this is someone who is definitely older than them. He's not coming out reversed, and so a reversed King of Cups can sometimes be a drinker, but we still have a lot of cards to pull, so we'll see what else comes out. But this to me indicates that one man, one person, and a man, one man was involved. All right, did you know this man? Did you know who he was? Did you recognize him? Queen of Pentacles. I'm going to need to draw another card for that one, but the way she's looking at that pentacle, the way she's staring at it, I mean, this is obviously a female that, she values what she has. This is the earth, the Queen of Pentacles, so earth. But I feel like in this situation, the girls actually, the pentacles represent the girls. So I kind of feel like this is mom coming up, and the question is did they know him? So I'm kind of wondering if maybe they didn't necessarily know them, but the mom knew of him. Maybe doesn't know him per se, but she knew of him, and she was worried about her girls. I look at this as being worried about her girls. One thing I forgot to mention, and this just reminded me of it, is that day when they went to church. I guess I forgot to put this in there. When they went to church, they actually went home first. Then they went on their excursions for the day and their activities and went to get lunch and visit their cousin and their godfather. And then they were supposed to go home. But they did go to church and they went home first. And they talked to their mom briefly because they had an encounter on their way home from church. They told their mom that they had been, they believed, followed by a man in a white van, and they thought that he had followed them for at least a couple of blocks until when they got into their neighborhood there was a gate, and then he just kind of drove off. And so they actually mentioned this to their mom, and she was concerned, but they kind of downplayed it and said, well, it's okay, I don't think it'll be anything, and we're together, and he left, he didn't follow us home, so he doesn't know where we live. And it could have been nothing. And so then they turn around and then they left. And so I think that this one coming out for the queen to be looking at that pentacle like that means that she was worried. There was something that the mom was worried about already. And it could have been the conversation about the white van. It could have been the violent crimes going on in the area at that time, because I think Mom was aware that there was somebody out there committing these crimes on women, and so she was concerned. And after the fact, I have to wonder if she maybe had some suspicions about who it was. All right, so did you girls recognize him? I don't think that they recognized him. I don't think that they knew him. And I think that with the hanged man, he took them and he held them for a while. I don't necessarily know how long he held them for, but I think that unfortunately, he did tie them up and he held them for some time. All right. All right. What happened? What happened after this person took you? What happened after this person took you? Yeah. Okay. So we've got the Eight of Wands. Okay, this is a fast card. It's communication, but it's coming out reversed, and so I don't feel like this happened quickly. I feel like he actually kept them, and sadly, unfortunately, possibly abused them, or again, I hate saying that, but I just don't think that it happened quickly, is what I'm saying. Whatever he did, it didn't happen quickly, because if it had come out like this, I would have been like, you know what, this was fast. He did what he did. But with it coming out reverse like that, that makes me feel like it didn't happen that way. And I don't think it was planned. I don't think it was premeditated. I mean, it was premeditated to a point to where maybe this person was out up to no good and had ill intentions, but not necessarily premeditated with them being the targets. It was almost opportunistic, and it was just an unlucky situation for them because they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. Lucky for him, unlucky for them, with this also being reversed. All right. Tell us what happened. What happened? I want to know if he took them close by. Were they nearby? Temperance. King of Wands. All right. So that King of Wands, I don't think that the father has anything to do with it. I don't. I don't think that Dad has. I think Dad is the King of Wands, and I think our person that is involved in this is the King of Cups, in my opinion. And so I don't think Dad is involved. I do think that they are on the other side, okay? With the Judgment and the Temperance card like that. I have to wonder if maybe, because I do feel like this is Dad, okay? I strongly feel like this is Dad. He's coming out reverse, so I know that they didn't have a relationship, or rather, he didn't have a relationship with them, and I don't know how old he is. I don't know anything about him, other than the fact that he was put in one of the theories of what could have happened to them. But as far as him, and, well, I know the basics, that he was in the theory of possibly having some responsibility for what happened to his daughters, and he was into drugs, and he was abusive to his wife, okay, before the girls were born. But I don't know anything else. I don't know if he ever went to prison. I don't know if he stayed out of prison, if he remarried, had other kids. I don't know if he's still alive. That's what I'm getting to. So I feel like it's a possibility that the dad may no longer be alive. With that Temperance card, I do feel like if he is no longer alive, they have made peace with one another, okay? And he did have some karma that he had to deal with, but they are together, and I think that they've made peace on the other side. I do think that the girls have passed over. I want to know where you are. Can you tell us where you are? where you're located. Where can we find you? Are you in the area? Are you in Augusta? Are you in Augusta? Okay. So we've got the Tower reversed and we've got the Four of Wands reversed. I do believe that they are located near someone's home. There's some structure. I do feel like they are in the area of Augusta. I don't think that they're that far away. But there's a home there where I feel that they are at. Now, we also have some fire. We have fire and lightning with the Tower card. So that's destruction. That is basically what happened. I mean, their world ended that day. A lot of people's world ended that day in regards to these girls and their family. And that is definitely what happened. And to me, I look at this as like a house of horrors. I really do in this situation. I've never even said that about the Tower card before. For some reason, with this particular read and possibly with this suspect, I feel like we're looking at a house of horrors where he did things to people inside of this house that are unimaginable. And unfortunately, Danette and Jeannette were also victims to that. There's a fire, like I said. So it's possible that he may have burned some of the evidence, okay, if there was any, like clothing or something along those lines. But I do believe that they are on a property near a home. Could it be this person's home? Maybe it could be a stranger's home, but I do think that they are in the area. Yeah, the Page of Pentacles. That to me just kind of goes with that mom. I believe that they want their mom to know what happened to them. It's like a missing puzzle piece. Mom is beyond herself and wants to know, and they want her to know, and it's so close but so far away. I think that they were taken to a house nearby. I think whatever was done to them was done inside the house, but I think that they are actually located outside the house and they could potentially be buried. Let me change decks now. I want to switch to a deck that I've never used before for a video. I have used it in private readings, but I haven't used it in videos yet. It's different. I'm getting used to it. Just a shout out to a subscriber, Mari, for sending me this deck for Christmas. It is the Beauty of Horror deck, and it's interesting. It is very interesting. Of course, the sun's coming back out. Okay, so very different deck. I'm not too familiar with all of the cards. I'm getting to know some of them, but I want to pull a couple of cards and see what comes out with this deck as well. All right. Okay, so, and I want to ask about, what was that guy's name? Joseph Patrick Washington. Ah. Is Joseph Patrick Washington, is he the person that did this to you? Is Joseph Patrick Washington behind this? Is Joseph Patrick Washington behind this? Oops. Okay. The Empress. Wow. Page of Swords. The Queen of Wands reversed. Not what I expected. Three of Cups. The Sun. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Let me pull a bottom card for all of these. The Ace of Cups. the Hierophant reversed, and let's see here. The High Priestess. Interesting. Look at the High Priestess. It's a devil. Interesting deck of cards. But I strangely like it. Alright, so we've got the Empress and we've got the Sun reversed right underneath of it. So this is Mom, okay? I'm asking about this specific individual named Joseph Patrick Washington, and to me the girls are focused on Mom. They are absolutely wanting Mom to have peace, because Mom does not have peace. Mom has not had peace since they walked out the door that day. Her life, her son, never came back up again. And, I think that is something that the girls really, that's something that they are still dealing with even to this day. They want their mom to have some peace, some closure to this. So then we have the Ace of Cups and the Page of Swords. Again, I do believe that the Page of Cups, not the Page of Cups, but the Page of Swords. This actually, to be honest with you, this actually makes me think that this is not the person. This is someone younger, or a young situation, or a new situation. This is not someone who's experienced. And the way he's yielding that sword to me is an attack style. And so I believe that that's exactly what happened. These girls were attacked that day by an individual. I don't believe that it was the alleged serial killer Joseph Patrick Washington, because he was not an amateur. I mean, he had done this several times. And I do have a 3 down here. We have the 3, we've got this 3 of Cups down here in that celebration. Remember I said that there were 3 women who escaped him. So if it's him, okay, and I feel like, I'm not 100% sure, because I just looked down and I seen that 3 of Cups and I remembered the 3 women. But this to me makes me feel like it's someone just starting out. So unless he went on, and I don't know all the details about him, if he was arrested or put in prison, I don't know everything, but if this is him, then he wasn't possibly, he didn't have as many victims as maybe what I'm thinking anyways, okay? So this is someone who just was starting out. But I've got this 3 of Cups, and so this is just not a person with experience, in my opinion. And then we have the Ace of Cups, and so, we've got a page and an ace, okay? These are new cards. These are fresh cards, beginning cards. And so this is, to me, would indicate that this was the first time. If anything, I would say that this is the first time that this person did this. Whoever's responsible hadn't done this before. Okay, so to me, that eliminates the serial killer person. This is someone that seen an opportunity and took this opportunity. They were just at the wrong place at the wrong time. And this person had ill intentions. He was not a good person, obviously, but he had never done this before. He may have thought about doing it, or he may have wanted to do it, or maybe attempted to do it in the past, but he never really, this was something new. And, it's coming out reversed because what he was doing is heinous. So I feel like this is not this person. The Hierophant. So this is somebody... we've got that Queen of Wands reversed. It's hard to know. Immediately, I'm almost thinking, could there be a woman involved? Is there a female involved in this? It's hard to really know because there was no investigation. Like, the police never looked into anybody. We have no idea. It could be anything going on down there, but the police never looked into anything. I've got a Queen of Wands reversed. coming up for a reason. And below her, I have the Hierophant reversed. And so, to me, this is somebody of somewhat of an outcast. You know, somebody who is just doesn't fit in with other people, maybe not very well liked, you know, introvert, keeps to themselves, maybe gives off some creepy vibes sort of person, but it's underneath a woman. Okay, so is this a woman? Are we dealing with a woman? And then we have 3 women down here celebrating. So there's drinking going on. This is a drinking card in this case for me right now. So could someone have been drunk? Could something have happened? And, you know, because I do believe it was an attack on them, that they were transported someplace. There could have been drinking involved, and there could be a female involved, and this person was probably a little bit off, weird. And then we have the Hierophant, or not the Hierophant, but the High Priestess. No, you know what? This is not the High Priestess. This is the 2 of Pentacles. This threw me. This is not the High Priestess. I'm so sorry. This is the 2 of Pentacles. I'm looking at it and I seen that infinity symbol and I thought, okay, it's not the 8, it's not the Strength card, and so I thought it's got to be the High Priestess with the 2 wings, but no, it's the 2 of Pentacles. My apologies. The 2 of Pentacles. So we've got... I've told you this deck was new, so I'm still learning. 3 of Cups and the 2 of Pentacles. Look at those C's below. And he's a devil, right? He's a devil. He looks dark. He doesn't look like a friendly guy. And then we've got those waves, those humongous waves. And yeah, there's usually some waves in the 2 of Pentacles. It's usually a guy juggling on the beach and there's some boats behind him in the water, but never waves like this. These are extreme waves. So there's definitely, to me, that person, that individual here, this description of this person is the personality of the person that's responsible for these girls going missing. And there could have been some money involved in it. Did he or did she or did they try to rob them? You know, did they think that they had money since they were coming out of the gas station store? I don't know how much money you would expect 2 teenage girls to have, but if they were drinking, okay, they're you know, maybe they just, I mean, it's hard to think normally. It's hard to make sense out of something that just doesn't make sense, I guess is what I'm saying. I mean, it sounds unreasonable. Why would you rob 2 teenage girls coming from a gas station shop? But then people do crazy shit like that, so you're just like, ugh, why? But they do, okay? So there's something here with the money situation. Then again, we have 2, and we have 2 girls. We have twins. Okay, so, and it just dawned on me with that infinity symbol. I think that those 2 girls came into this world together, and they are still together now where they're at. They're not, I don't believe in the physical earth anymore. They are in the other world. They have passed on. They are in the spirit world. They are still together. They will be together forever, okay, for infinity. They did go through something horrific, I believe, which is represented by the waves. And this person here, this demonic individual, is the one responsible. All right, I want to know more about, can you tell me about this person or people? Can you tell me more about the individuals responsible? Can you tell me more about the individuals responsible? The High Priestess. That's the High Priestess. Okay. Queen of Swords. There's a woman. There's a woman involved in this. Page of Cups. The Chariot. Transportation. the Moon reversed. Pull the bottom row, the Magician reversed. King of Pentacles reversed. The Ace of Pentacles reversed. Oops, and I got two more here. The the Ten of Swords and wow, the Ten of Pentacles. All right, so the High Priestess, someone knows. To me, someone knows with that High Priestess. Someone knows what happened to these two girls. There's someone out there, potentially a female, but there is someone out there that knows exactly who is responsible, or at least has some feeling that they know who it is, and they're not saying anything. Okay, but someone knows. Someone has some information. They just know, and she doesn't look like she doesn't have the appearance of the typical High Priestess. She doesn't look like she's giving up any information anytime soon. And let's face it, it's been over 30 years since these girls went missing, so I think if she's been quiet for 30 years, it's safe to say she's probably not going to say anything. But we do have a female involved. We have, to me, a female and a male. Also, let me go back to that High Priestess really quick. I do believe that she knows because of this Magician right underneath of her. She has the information and she has neglected to speak on it, okay, for whatever reason. This is all about him having everything that he needs to do what he needs to do. But then when you flip it upside down, it's someone that is kind of sneaky, and I'm not saying that this person is sneaky, but there's something with this person. She's not coming across to me as like an innocent bystander that happened to, maybe is scared. There's something, I want to say sinister about her. There's something off about her, but she has information. Maybe she is somebody who has committed crime herself and isn't going to speak. Maybe she is somehow related or connected to this person or persons. Okay, but there's someone here that may have even lied to detectives and that's a big if, detectives ever even questioned anyone. But I think there's someone that knows something, and whoever they've spoken to, they've actually lied about it. Okay, they've left information out. They've intentionally left information out, but they know what's going on. And then again, we have the Queen of Swords and we have the King of Pentacles reversed. And so I believe that we are talking about these two individuals. These are the people responsible, and to me it's a male and a female. She's not nice. This one here. He's not nice either, but his motives are more material. Her motives are she's just cold and cruel, okay? She could even have played a bigger role in the actual attack. He might have been just after them for, what did I read that their godfather loaned them like $20 or something for the bus ticket for the week, and a couple of extra bucks for some chips and some pop. So maybe they had $30 between the two of them. He's the type that would have robbed them just for the $30 or whatever they had on them. But she had other plans. Like, she's just downright nasty. And she could have been, they both could be drinkers, right? But she just looks, he's almost kind of like, he doesn't look like that. He doesn't look like he's the brains of the pair. Okay, he's just there, and I think whoever she is running the show. So we've got a female, I believe, involved in this case. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles. So again, right next to him, this was an opportunity. These girls were opportunities for potentially material gain for him. That's all they were for him. But there was something about the female that took it to the next level. She took it to this level. She took it to the Ten of Swords level. I mean, look, she's got the sword right there. And the evidence is on the sword. There's blood on the sword. And this represents the girls, the Ten of Swords. So his motive was material gain, whether it be A couple of bucks. He didn't care. A couple bucks is a couple bucks. Her motive was something entirely different. And then we have the Page of Cups. So, the Page of Cups, look at that. It's like literally a little girl. A small girl. Is there some... I don't know. I'm gonna keep that one aside for a second. To me, with it right next to the King or the Queen of Swords, that particular Queen of Swords, this one to me is just the way she looked at them. This is how she, and I'm so sorry about the light. This is my spot where I read tarot cards. I can't change. I mean, I could, but I don't want to. And it's right here in front of this window. And it was fine earlier when I started this reading, but now that the sun's setting, it's just horrid. So I so apologize. But I feel like this was the way she was looking at these girls. Just with as sinister opportunity. She just has an evil bone in her body. She just wanted to cause harm. It was an opportunity. Like I said, I do believe that they were transported. We have the Chariot reversed. Interesting that this Chariot is a coffin. But we have the Chariot. Okay, so transported. He's a mummy. All right, so he's all wrapped up. I do believe that they were bound. Eventually, the girls were bound. Once maybe they got them in the car, they were potentially bound, and that was, I believe, that their last ride. Sadly, I think that they were taken to a structure, a home, whether it's the home of this couple. I think it's a couple, but they were taken there, and that was literally their last ride. But there was a car involved. They were picked up and taken somewhere. And then we have the moon. The moon and the Ten of Pentacles. I feel like this moon really goes back to that High Priestess. The moon is an indication of secrets being exposed, things coming out, okay? Being able to see things for the first time or see things that you hadn't seen before. And the wolf and the dog are meant to be warnings. They're trying to warn you. They're trying to tell you what's going on. So I actually do feel like, number one, people know. Maybe it's just this person. Maybe it's more than her. Maybe it's more than one person that suspect or know in this community. Because this is also a card of secrets. And so I actually feel like there's a reason why police, even to this day, are not getting involved. Because this town, apparently to me, has secrets. There's a whole bunch of shit going on in Augusta, Georgia, that no one wants to talk about in higher places in that location. They don't want to bring it out. There's skeletons. I mean, there's a skeleton literally in the moon. So there's skeletons in this town. And they do everything that they do to keep it on the hush. They have some dark stuff going on with all those dark clouds. And so there's something involving these people that are involved with this crime, potentially other crimes as well, but at least this one, that even law enforcement or people involved in politics now and some other local people that just live there do not want to get involved in this. And they've been warned not to. Like, they've literally been warned, and not in a kind way. I mean, if you look at this wolf and this dog, like, they're barking ferociously at the moon. They have been warned by people in a very, very frightening and aggressive way not to cause any disruptions with this case. And then we have the Ten of Pentacles. So this is family. It can be money. It can be monetary. This is an interesting one. I like this one. I like this Ten of Pentacles. It's different. It reminds me of the Ten of Pentacles in the Heaven and Earth, where the man is looking in the keyhole and he's looking at the town So it's almost like he's kind of watching the family. This guy here is also looking through a doorway, but he's in a wheelchair. So his time has passed, okay? This is somebody who is aged, maybe thinking back on how it used to be, something along those lines. Or you know, that's the way I take it. But this is someone, to me, based on the dog and the skeleton, that's someone who is aged, or someone who is perhaps, you know, dealing with physical problems, health problems. But this one here, because we're talking about the town and its secrets, I feel like these secrets go back to quite a ways away. People who I think are involved in this case, number one, are aging, okay? Because it's been over 30 years, so they're definitely aging. But there's at least one person in this town that I think may be influential, because there's money, okay? There's money related to this card, so he could be financially influential, he could be politically influential, but there's someone in this town, I think, that has a very guilty conscience, and so he knows. I don't know if he's involved, but he definitely knows more than what he is allowed to be discovered. He is the one, I think, keeping the hush on everything going on. I don't know why. So let me see if we can figure out why. What is going on? What's up with this person? Why does he not want an investigation? What's happening? So let me switch over to my heaven and earth. What's up with this town? What's all the secrets? Why is this couple being protected? Why wasn't this case looked into? Why wasn't this case looked into? And what's up with this person? Okay, so how many times have we had the Queen of Swords come up tonight? It's like the third time? And the moon card again. There's a woman. There's a woman at the heart of this case. There's a relationship. Is the person responsible for this abduction? Is it someone part of law enforcement? Is someone from law enforcement involved in this? Is someone from law enforcement involved in this? I don't think so. I don't think it's that. It's something else. It's something else. But it's not good. There's secrets in this town. There's a couple. It's like, to me, it's this couple that we're talking about. It's definitely, to me, a husband and a wife, or at least a relationship, a couple. She's the one that runs everything, though, and he is her, he's her defender. He protects her, but he doesn't strike me as, like I said, like the genius type criminal. She's the brains of the operation. He's like the physical part. So he is always defending her. And they've gotten away with it. They've managed to get away with it even to this day. I don't think they're in the air. Well, it's the second time the Six of Swords has come out. The second time the Sun reversed has come out. And then we've got the Ten of Swords reversed as well. So the Ten of Swords, I do pay attention to sometimes the way they're laid out and what's below or above the other one. And we've got the Ten of Swords right below the couple. So the the Two of Cups. So the Ten of Swords here, it almost makes me feel like there could have been, I mean, this is what, 30 some odd years ago, so I don't know if there's still a couple. I don't know if one of them has passed away. I would venture to say one has passed away. So one is still there, and one potentially is gone. Why the secrets? Why the secrets in this town? What's the secret? What's going on? Page of Swords. Second time the Page of Swords came out. The Magician. We're starting to get repeat cards. Lying. We've got lying. We've got fighting. We've got Eight of Wands reversed. We've got the Hierophant. This is the exact, these are the exact same cards. Yes, sometimes I pull similar cards. If I use 3 or 4 decks, I'll pull this, similar cards, but it's almost like every single card I'm pulling, I've pulled it before. So there is a message here. There's a message here. And we've got community. We've got society. This, to me, represents that town. This represents Augusta. There is something about Augusta that is not right. Okay, there is somebody who is running the show behind the scenes and is the one that is conducting. He communicates. He communicates all of everything that needs to be communicated to everybody below him. That means possibly politicians. That means possibly law enforcement. But there's something going on with this person here who, to me, is running the show. And there was an investigation. It could have possibly been because the police officers didn't care themselves, but there's also something deeper. There's something deeper at the core here that is being kept secret for some reason. I don't know who this couple is, and I don't know if they're somehow related to this person. That could very well be it. I've pulled a couple of page cards. In the beginning, I was thinking it was representing Jeannette and Danette. Now I'm having to wonder if maybe this couple here, is one of these people here, was it a child of somebody higher up in that town? Was a parent in a position to where he could, or they could protect their child at all costs, and they were willing to do that, and they had money? 10 of Pentacles, so they had a little money, they were wealthy, they had influence, maybe enough influence to say, hey, you know what, this case where these 2 girls went missing, drop it. There's nothing there. Now that I'm thinking about it, that podcast, the girls or the women with the podcast, remember I said they interviewed Detective Ship, and they asked him about the information that he received that the girls had been put into foster care and that they had been adopted out. And he still claimed that. He said that that was what he was told. They asked him if he ever seen the girls. Did he ever lay eyes on them to make sure that this was accurate? He said no. He just went by what he was told. Who told him that? I believe he was told that. I believe he was told that. But by who and why? Who was giving him the information? Because it was coming from someone above him. Okay, these people were just following orders. This is somebody, this here to me with the Hierophant and the reversed Magician again coming out. This person is not a very good person, and he would do anything to protect someone that he cared about. No matter who he hurt, no matter who was hurt in the crossfire, he was there to protect this up here, whoever this is, whoever these people are. A lot of stuff I feel like going on with this Augusta town. Shady stuff. All right, let me ask, I want to end this reading because we are already at 1 hour and 8 minutes, and I'm trying desperately to kind of keep my videos within an hour. It's just so hard though. I want to ask final information on the whereabouts of Danette and Jeannette. I want to ask if that Jane Doe was actually one of the siblings. You know, the one where the DNA was never tested. Is that potentially one of you girls? And where are you? Where are you? I don't think that that's one of the girls. I don't. Not by this. I actually did. That was my personal feeling, but I based on this, I would venture not. To me, this is I mean, really, the only thing I'm getting from this is that I do believe that they are outside. I think that they're potentially buried somewhere, maybe outside, but it doesn't feel, I don't feel hopeful that they're going to be found. What would need to happen in order to find you? How can your family locate you? What do they need to do to be able to locate you? What does your family need to do? Will the private investigator, what does the family need to do? All right, so they're not working together, okay? And I don't think that that's the family. I think that that's all the organizations together. I think that the message is that in order for these girls to be found, or their remains to be found, everybody needs to be on the same page. That includes law enforcement, family, friends, anybody who can provide assistance. Private detectives, lawyers. It has to be a team effort. And there just isn't any, which is why it's coming out reversed. There isn't a team effort. And so when you have people that have secrets and people that are lying to protect other people, or people who are covering up this or covering up that, then you're not going to be able to get answers. So I feel like the message is that people have to come together, and I don't necessarily see that happening in this case. But that would be a way for them to really kind of get some information, and that would move the case forward. That's what needs to move the case forward. If it doesn't happen, I don't think that the case can move forward, but I feel like there's hope, you know, if enough time passes, you know. But the mom of these girls is getting older, she's aging, and so it's like you want her to have some peace and closure here on this earth. And at the very least, her sisters should know what happened to them and where they are. So maybe with this being upright, there's some hope that they can move forward and work together. But I'm not convinced that it's going to happen anytime soon. But I think that's what the girls are saying. You know, there's just there's no teamwork. There's no organization. There's these groups of people are not being truthful. They're not being helpful. I want to ask a little bit though if any of this involves race. Is this a racial? Is there any racial connection here? Yeah, there is. Race is part of it, definitely. Might be the whole point. Might be, you know, African American people were the target. Maybe this community. Like I said, when I read up on Augusta, Georgia, it's divided into two sections of the town, literally by a road. I think it's called Broadway. And the way it's explained is it's like living across the tracks, but literally, quite literally, on this side of town is extreme poverty, and this side of town you're looking at homes that are $2 million. Okay, so it's extreme night and day, and they are definitely treated differently in this town. So, you know, are people on one side treated a certain way as far as crime because they just don't care? You know, it's African Americans, so what? nobody cares. We'll just, was there somebody out there trying to do things to people and they did it on that side of the town because nobody cared, nobody was going to look into it, versus on the wealthy side? I don't know, but I do feel like race is an issue. What about drugs? Is drugs also involved? But like I said, it's even deeper than race. There's something else at play here. Yeah, okay, so honestly, I'm asking about race and drugs, and I pull the Ace of Wands, the Star card, and the Ace of Swords. So I believe that there's a whole host of things going on in that town. I think it's got things to do with drugs, it's got things to do with lies, secrets, racism. There's a whole bunch of problems that are kept under the rug. And the new sheriff in town, the African-American sheriff who vowed to open this case up and see if he could get to the bottom of it, cannot do anything because his hands are tied. His hands are tied. Literally, we pulled the Hanged Man. And just saying that his hands are tied makes me think of that Hanged Man. He is in a position to where he can only do so much. Even as sheriff, he has no power, because there are people above him telling him what to do. So it's a sad situation. It's a really sad situation. I didn't think that it would go as deep as it did. But I will have that information on the podcast, and I'll put it in the description. And, look into this case. It's interesting. It's a very interesting one. And what came out, I didn't expect that at all. All right, guys, so I wish you a very happy Easter. I am still probably going to record my regular weekly video and have it up probably Monday. But until then, have a wonderful weekend, a happy Easter, stay safe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.